reading some of your favorite books can really feel like coming home, but at the same time, some of them can also be like an emotional Russian roulette. These are the books I can't wait to revisit, and also the ones I'm kind of scared of picking up again. Hi, my name is Maria, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel where I talk about all the books that I've loved reading and maybe what you should consider picking up next. But I have a lot of books that I will reread sometime. Partly because I love them, but also some because there is coming a second or a third book and I want to be up to date. And there are also some really old ones that I've read years ago that I still think about today and maybe want to see if they are still holding up. But I'm also scared of ruining my reading experience. And the first books I'm thinking of is the Belgariad by David Eddings. I read this when I was about 12, I think. I actually started reading fantasy when I was about 11. I first went into Bilbo and Lord of the Rings, and then I got this series gifted to me, and I loved it so much. This version is in Swedish because I wasn't reading English fantasy at that time, but I remember I was blown away by this series. I loved the characters so much, and I just went through all of David Eddings' books after that. So I do want to reread them sometime, but I'm also scared because what if they're not good anymore? They will still have such a special place in my heart anyway, but it still would be nice if I read them and still really liked them. So I'm kind of putting this off, but someday I will read them again. If anyone who's watching has read them recently, please tell me down below what you thought about them and if I should try them again soon, or maybe not. Another fantasy series that I really love is the Mistborn series, or the Final Empire series, by Brandon Sanderson. This is one of the best series I have ever read. I just love the characters, but also the magic system is like nothing else, and the world building is amazing. I knew immediately when I finished it that I would want to read them again. This is also a first arc, so there is a second one which I haven't read, so maybe someday before reading the second arc I will go back and read them before, or just read them for fun again. This is just a series I'm looking forward to revisiting sometime when I have forgotten enough about them. And also, when you know how everything turns out and how the story unravels, it will also be really fun to reread them, because there are hints throughout this whole series about the ending and everything that's going on, but you don't understand until you're at the end. So I think it will be really fun to read them again when you know how everything turns out. The second book or books I'm thinking of rereading sometimes is The Six of Crows, because I really loved them when I read them. This is a duology in the Grishaverse by Leigh Bardugo, and these books are just amazing. They are set in a fantasy world, but there's also a heist story, and the characters and the found family in these books are just so fun to follow. You really love them all, and it's also really exciting with the heist that they are planning. But before reading them, you have to read these 3 books first, and that's the Shadow and Bone trilogy by the same author, of course. And that's why I'm hesitant, because I remember when I read these, I ate them up. I really loved them so much. And this was also my first encounter with a little romantic fantasy or romantasy, because there are like this fantasy setting and there is magic systems and some world building, but there is also kind of a love triangle in these books. And I remember thinking they were amazing at the time, but now I have read so many other books that I'm not sure they will be holding up to what I enjoy now. But I still don't want to skip them and just read The Six of Crows, because I do want to get the whole part with the world building and the magic and all the other side characters that I have forgotten. So I think I will have to read them all to get to the duology. And I'm scared. But we'll see someday. When I have the time and energy, I will read through all of them. Another book series that I loved reading but is very scared to revisit is The Name of the Wind by Patrich Rothfuss, and this is supposed to be a series of 3 books, but he has published 2 of them, and then it's been a decade. And I don't quote me on this, but I even think that he wrote somewhere on his website, like, don't ask me about the 3rd book. It's supposed to be published someday, I think. It has a name, but there have been no news for a lot of years. And when I read these books, I thought they were amazing. And by the way, I think my cat has been eating on this one. I thought they were so good, and I really, really loved them. Both the first and the second book. But then I talked to my friend about them, and he said that he didn't like them because the main character is just running around and getting really good at everything he does. Like, for example, he is getting really good at fighting, really good at magic, really good with the ladies. And I'm not sure if I can read them again without thinking about his comment. And now maybe I put that in your head as well. And I'm also not sure if it's a good idea to reread them again if the third book isn't going to be published, because you really want to know how it ends. But still, if you haven't read them, I highly recommend them because they are amazing, and that's why everyone is so keen on getting the ending. And another book series or universe I know I will be revisiting is Everything by Sarah J. Maas. I just love her books and her characters. This will also be one of those books when it's fun to reread it when you know how everything plays out. I was a bit disappointed when I read this one, just because it wasn't like I thought it would be. But then these books gave me everything else I wanted from the characters, the love story, and the whole world. But you still need this book to set up for the others, so I think this will be a really fun reread, and I probably will reread them when the release date for the next book is out. And also her other series, Crescent City, I just love that one as well. I love the urban fantasy setting, the characters, the love story, and everything about it. So if or when she releases a fourth book in that series, I will absolutely reread them before getting that. Do you have any books that you are scared or looking forward to reread? Please comment down below. And if you need some inspiration for what you should be reading next, then I think you should check out this book.